In the heart of a bustling city, stood an aging apartment complex, its bricks weathered with time. Among its many units was Room 203, infamous for the eerie tales whispered by the building's tenants. Two lifelong friends, Claire and Emily, moved into the apartment, drawn by its affordability and central location. Claire, an aspiring journalist, was fascinated by the building's history, while Emily, a budding artist, sought inspiration in its rustic charm. They laughed off the warnings of neighbors, dismissing the rumors as urban legends. The room was peculiar. A Gothic stained glass window dominated one wall, depicting a scene of a woman in anguish beneath a looming tree. Its colors shifted unsettlingly under the light, and the air around it always felt colder. The first night passed uneventfully, though Emily woke up to a strange scraping sound. It seemed to come from behind the walls, like nails raking against wood. Assuming it was rats or old plumbing, she ignored it. By the end of the week, things took a darker turn. Emily's once bright and colorful paintings became morbid and twisted, depictions of shadowy figures and a woman eerily resembling the one from the window. She claimed she had no memory of painting them, insisting her hands moved of their own accord. Meanwhile, Claire began experiencing bizarre nightmares. She dreamt of the woman from the stained glass window, sobbing in a forest, her face obscured by tangled hair. Each time Claire tried to approach her, the woman would scream, and the ground would crumble, swallowing Claire into darkness. Determined to understand the sinister vibes of Room 203, Claire began her investigation. She combed through old newspapers and found a chilling connection. The apartment had a history of disappearances and deaths, dating back decades. Most victims were women who had lived alone in Room 203. While cleaning the room one evening, Emily accidentally dislodged a loose floorboard. Beneath it, she discovered an old diary. Its pages were fragile, filled with the scribbled thoughts of a woman named Isabella, a tenant from the 1970s. The diary painted a disturbing picture. Isabella wrote about being tormented by the room, claiming she saw figures in the mirror and felt compelled to harm herself. The final entry was chilling: "The window watches me. It wants my soul." Claire's research revealed the window's origins. It was salvaged from a church that had burned down under mysterious circumstances in the 1800s. The priest in charge of the church had been accused of occult practices. He had reportedly used the window in rituals to trap spirits, claiming it was a portal to the afterlife. Claire began piecing together a theory: the window was cursed, and its presence in Room 203 was the source of the hauntings. Emily's behavior grew increasingly erratic. She often stared at the window for hours, her expression vacant. She started hearing voices, soft whispers calling her name. One night, Claire woke up to find Emily standing in front of the window, her hands pressed against the glass, murmuring unintelligibly. When Claire tried to pull her away, Emily turned violently, her eyes dark with rage. Claire decided they needed to leave, but Emily refused. "It won't let me go," she said, her voice trembling. "It's in me now." Desperate to save her friend, Claire contacted a local historian who specialized in the occult. He explained that the window acted as a conduit for a malevolent spirit, feeding on the fear and despair of its victims. The only way to break its hold was to destroy it, but doing so came with risks. The spirit could retaliate. Armed with this knowledge, Claire prepared for a confrontation. She waited until Emily fell asleep and then smashed the window with a hammer. The stained glass shattered, releasing a deafening wail that reverberated through the apartment. Shadows erupted from the broken glass, swirling violently before disappearing into the walls. For a moment, it seemed like it was over, until Emily screamed. Emily was convulsing, her body writhing as though something was trying to take over. The spirit wasn't gone, it had latched onto her. Claire remembered Isabella's diary and the priest's rituals. She realized the spirit could be banished using the same rites that had trapped it. With the historian's help, Claire performed the ritual. She drew symbols from the diary, recited incantations, and burned sage to cleanse the room. The spirit fought back, manifesting as a dark, twisting figure that shrieked and clawed at them. Claire persisted, her voice steady despite the terror. Finally, the spirit let out an ear-splitting cry and dissolved into ash. Emily collapsed, unconscious but alive. The next morning, the apartment felt different, lighter, as though a weight had been lifted. Emily's paintings returned to their usual vibrancy, and the nightmares stopped. They moved out shortly after, leaving room 203 and its dark history behind. Claire published an article exposing the apartment's haunted past, ensuring its story would never be forgotten. But somewhere, in the remnants of the shattered window, a faint whisper lingered, "It's not over."